guys, it's Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. Today we're going to be playing with the Not Too Shabby Shop Box of the Month. In this month's Box of the Month, there are actually two different themes. One is hummingbirds, and I did a video for that at the beginning of the month. And then we've got this lovely part of the collection, which is all these cute bees and people dressed as bees, and this cute little dachshund dressed as a bee. And we've even got a couple of little bees there. So we've got this little guy with a cute smiley face, and then we got this teeny tiny one, along with some other things that are awesome to go with it. The set is actually called Oh Honey, so that's the name of the stamp set. We've got this stencil from Crafty Owl, which is called Striped Honeycomb. Then we've got the ephemera and the Sweet Bees paper pack. And what I'm going to start out with, and of course, as usual, I have not completely made up my mind. I'm going to start off with the stencil, and I'm going to add a little bit of lunar paste to the mix. I think that is going to be super cool. So let me go ahead and take this out, and I've got some cardstock right over here. But I think I want to have something else in the background. So the colors on the ephemera, and I think this time around I'm going to use the ephemera. I may change my mind, but let's say we're going to do that. We've got some light blues, some yellows, some purples. So I think what I'm going to do, I've got some of my Catherine Pooler ink, and I think I'm going to just do a little bit of ink blending onto this card panel. Now I've used this ink pad for doing a little bit of straight to paper blending, so I've got a lot of different colors on there. So I'm going to just kind of mix them together on my brush here and just start putting some color down, some light color. And this is going to basically mean that behind my lunar paste I'm going to have this other color. So we're not going to have it stark white. Okay, and then I could do a little bit of water reactive on there, but I'm not going to because it's going to take longer for it to dry. Instead, I'm just going to put my stencil straight down using my mats that go along with my dashboard, my Glassboard Studio. And I think I'm actually going to put them up at the top because I know me. I am going to probably try to... Yeah, I'm probably going to make a mess of this. So for the other color, I think what I want to go with, I've got some different colors of lunar paste over here. So I've got this bright yellow, which is Shooting Star. I've got Gold Rush. And then I've got Slippery When Wet. So I've got three different goldish colors. So to start, I think I'm going to actually use a combination. And in this case, I may not actually need these because once I get it moving, it should be fine. Let's just tack this down with some tape because otherwise the magnets are going to get in the way a little bit. And I'm also going to put some tape on the back to hold it down onto my mat so it doesn't shift while I'm doing this. Okay, got that. And believe it or not, I'm not really that concerned about making a mess. This stuff is really a nice paste because it cleans up so easily with just some water. Okay, so I'm going to just take some of this out. And I'm going to do what I recommend because I forgot for a second. Try to pick it up with the back because that makes it a lot easier for you to place it down. Then I'm going to wipe it off of my palette knife because I'm going to use a different one of the colors. And this is so I can get a little bit of variation of color in there, and it's going to look kind of cool. Again, picking it up with the back of the knife and just placing that one down. And then I will do the same thing with the Gold Rush. And I think I want a little bit more of the bright one on this end. And then I'm going to just take that big scraper and pull it right on down and across. Okay, now I'm going to start going off in another direction to kind of get that little bit of a blend going. There we go. And these are all very complementary in their coloring. So it's not going to be a big deal that they are blended like that. I think this is going to look really nice. Now, because it's a little bit thicker, it is going to take a little bit longer to dry. And I think I do need a little bit more of the brighter color, so I'm going to put a little bit more of it down over on this edge. Actually, I think I'm going to on both edges because it's not completely as full as I'd like. So put a little bit more there, put a little bit more there. And I'm probably going to trim off the edges, but I still want to fill it all the way to the edge. Looks like I've got good coverage. I want to fill it all the way to the edge because I don't want to waste any of this stuff. You know, I'm going to fill it up to the edge, and then the edges I can use for something else. Now I've still have some on my palette knife here, so I think I'm going to just add some of that, add it right down to an extra piece of cardstock, and clean this off. And now I've got a panel that I can use for die cutting later if I want. And that took care of most of that, so I didn't do any kind of waste. Now, if you hadn't done the combination of colors like what I did, you probably wouldn't need to, to do that. And you could just put it right back in the container. But since I did combine some of them, I didn't want to waste it, so I've got it all on here. And I think that is going to be lovely. So now I'm going to set all of these to the side so that they can dry. Okay, so I went ahead and hit this with my Heat It tool to speed up the drying. It really didn't take all that much time, but it does take a little longer to for the Lunar paste to dry when you use a spatula or something like that, because it goes on there thicker. Now, if you want it to dry faster, you can still get a similar result without quite as much texture if you use your finger to apply it instead. I didn't do that this time. Instead, I used the palette knife that you guys already saw. What I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to go ahead and trim this down. I decided I want to do it at a diagonal, and since I'm doing a diagonal, why don't I do a diagonal of the full thing? I haven't done that in a bit. So we can basically place it anywhere we want, but let's say we want to do it as the full right there. I do know I want to use my cute little doggy because he is just stinking adorable. And maybe the little bee, I think that may be all that's needed, plus the sentiment. So those are cute. And then we've got the sentiment that says, being your friend is pure joy. And I think that one, that's perfect. Okay, so I'm going to be adding this little stamp to the front. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I get everything positioned where I want it. First, I'm going to tape my card base shut so that it doesn't move. Just going to use a little bit of tape on the inside. This is a piece of Best Ever Craft tape that I used earlier. So it doesn't have quite as much stick, and basically just putting that on the inside so that it holds it down. Now I'm going to go ahead and kind of place my bits on here so I know where I want to put my stamped image, where I want to put my sentiment. Okay, so those look cute, and then the sentiment is going to say, being your friend is pure joy. And I can place that up at the top. Also going to use my Creative Corners from Misty to try to get it lined up so that it is pretty much straight on the card. And then we'll just close the lid to pick up that stamp. Now I can take all the extra bits off and stamp down my image there. So I think since my ephemera pieces are all outlined in black, I'm going to use some black ink to stamp out my sentiment. Everything's going to be matching a lot nicer that way. I think I'm going to use Gina K. I love my Gina K ink. This one is starting to get a little bit dry, so I do need to get a re-inker for it. Haven't gotten around to it, but I do need to do that. So I'm going to probably need to stamp it a few times. That's one of the nice things about having the Misty, because you can stamp it multiple times in the exact same spot. And that is pretty good. Let me do another time. It looks like the bottom, the Pure Joy part, is the part that didn't really stamp as cleanly. And I think I'm going to go with it. I think that looks pretty good. And it may be that because I have stuff underneath it, it may not have been completely flat, and that may have been one reason why it didn't quite want to go as well. I'm going to go fairly close to the edges to make sure that it doesn't try to lift on the edges. And then I'm going to take it and basically use the edge on against my glass board to make sure that I get this lined up just right on the edge. Plus that liquid glue gives me a second to be able to readjust if I want to. So there we go. We've got that nice gold and purple on the front. And now we can add our cute, cute little doggy and little tiny bee. And I want, guess what? I want to put some foam on the back. But that finishes up this card for today. I think it's super cute. Doesn't need anything additional. You don't need any sequins or anything else. That shiny gold just takes care of all of any kind of glimmer that you would want to it. So anyway, if you'd like to see some more videos where I'm using not too shabby shop products, be sure to check out this playlist. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.